I worship God. Am I supposed to worship my pastor because I worship God?
Absolutely, you better not worship me. I just wish that there are moments in time when the bad things happen to us that God would have a conversation with us and ask permission to send a storm our way. We are all one lie and one scandal away from being the worst person in the world. The best sermon that I've ever preached was the Sunday after the fire.
Join us for a crucial conversation.
Growth and comfort contradict one another.
Okay.
And I say that because if you ask any young person that's going through adolescence, they have what's called growing pains.
Exactly. Okay.
If you ask a woman who's pregnant,
Okay.
as her body stretches, she has pains and she's left with the residue or the evidence that she's grown. She has stretch marks. Growth requires expansion and enlargement, but oftentimes when we see growth, we think about growth in the vertical aspect, but sometimes there's growth in the horizontal aspect. And when God decides that he's going to enlarge your territory or allow you to experience growth, he wants to make sure that you can handle it once you get there. So the process that you'll go through, it isn't necessarily a lack of ease or a lack of comfort, but rather it's God preparing you for where you're going to be, because as you grow, your demand increases. As you grow, God's expectation increases.
Yeah. That's true.
And you never want to find yourself comfortable. And oftentimes when people say they like to use the scripture, I've learned to be content.
Yeah.
Content and comfort are two different things. Content is settled in my spirit.
Oh, okay.
I'm content
Okay.
wherever God has me.
Okay.
Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm comfortable.
Comfortable, yeah. But you're content. Like that. Okay. You done gave me a lesson today. Another lesson. I don't know if we, but I'm just telling you, it's, bad pastors in the church and bad pastors this or bad pastors that. I don't believe that there are and this is what I said to myself. I don't believe it's perfect pastors. I don't believe it's perfect people in the world. I believe that everybody has good in them. But what I did say too is just because a person or a pastor is good at ministering the word or coming over on that part, don't mean that, okay, he's a perfect person. We should idolize that person. The reason why I said that part is because my brother, he was like talking about, we were talking about different pastors. And he was like, well, yeah, pastors such and such so ain't, no saint. But just because they not a saint don't mean they not a good pastor. Am I wrong? And I was asking him, I say, well, let me ask you this. Is like a pastor supposed to be held equivalent to God? Because like I tell people, I'm new to the church and all this. I'm trying to learn everything that I can as far as Christ and everything. So I was asking, so is it that we're supposed to hold them the same level that we hold? I worship God. Am I supposed to worship my pastor because I worship God?
Absolutely, you better not worship me.
That's what I'm saying. I don't feel like I should put that pressure.
Because I'll let you down.
I don't feel like I
I'll let
should.
you down. I'll be perfectly honest. The same way I'm a fan of not putting people's mishaps under a microscope.
Okay.
I don't also put their good
on
billboards and on microscopes, because the moment that they have a slip up, and I don't even want to talk about them, the moment that I have a slip up, the moment I make a mistake, let's be perfectly honest, we are all one lie and one scandal away from being the worst person in the world. You let the right person with enough followers say the right lie about you. You're one social media post.
Oh, yeah.
You're one tweet. You're one
I agree.
Instagram hashtag away from being the worst person in the world.
I agree.
So I guess for me, again, as long as God is pleased with me.
That's it.
Because I can't make everybody happy. I'm not going to do everything that everybody want me to do.
You can't do
as long as God is pleased with me.
As long as he's pleased.
And I'm not intentionally trying to offend anybody. But the unbeliever, if my belief offends you, like I'm not intentionally trying to offend you, but you got the ability to believe in the same God that I believe in. So I do have some non-negotiables. And when I say I'm not intentionally trying to offend anybody, but I'm unapologetically who I am. I'm unapologetically who God has created me to be. I'm unapologetically a fan of Christ. I'm unapologetically these things. So if that offends you, so be it.
Yeah.
But it's not my intent to offend you.
Yeah.
It's not my purpose to offend you. But I do desire to make you uncomfortable so that I can convict you if you're in my presence, because that's what I've been called and commissioned to do. I don't change, but I will convict you.
I can understand that.
I'll be perfectly honest. One of the things that I believe that as we're going through difficult times or heavy moments in our life, we've been so colloquialized in church that we have so much church lingo that it really makes no sense, and it deeply disturbs me. For example, when people experience death, in that moment, folks show up and they'll say, God doesn't make a mistake. In that moment, that don't do nothing for that individual. Because I promise you, that individual can honestly, in that moment, they feel like, man, God done made a mistake. God has taken away someone that I love, someone that I count on, someone that I depend on.
That was
they
good.
feel that impact, and it's not just in that moment. They have to live the remainder of their life with a vacancy and a void of that individual. Or when people say, hey, I'm praying for you, and that's all that they're doing. The reality of it is, man, listen, when people say stuff like the least I can do is pray for you. Well, if that's the least you can do, man, listen, I don't need you around me, because having a conversation with God, I need that to be the most you can do.
The most you
I
can
need
do.
for you to be able to have that conversation with God on my behalf, stand in the gap for me, touch and agree for me, pray and intercede for me. We got so much church colloquialism, like it really makes no sense. Like we love to say he'll never put more on you than you can. That is a lie. I can't handle that. That ain't even what the Bible says. The Bible says he'll never put more on you than he can bear. So it's really not about your strength and not about your might. It's really about him. So when people say stuff and it comes from a genuine place, from a good place, but the reality of it is, man, it really serves no purpose in that moment. He'll never put more on you than you can bear. Man, listen, you are a lie. I got bills and ain't got the money. Like he will allow me to experience something that's outside of my capacity, larger and greater than me, so that I can learn to lean and depend on him. So people just say stuff just to say it.
Just learned that. That is funny. I just learned that about 3 weeks ago, that the saying is, he won't put more on you than he can bear. We've always said he will not put more on you than you can bear. And we've always said, well, I can't handle this, or, God, hold on, that's too big. But that's not even the saying. The saying is he will not put more on you than he can bear. And that makes the difference.
And we used to sing that song, and they used to praise Dan. He'll never put more on you. It's no shade and it's no shot, but that ain't what it said. That is not what it said.
It's funny, I just learned that 3 weeks ago. I didn't know that. It is funny. We praised it though, baby.
Yeah, man, we had a whole praise dance. I used to watch them. People used to go in, they be shouting. I'll tell you, we will shout on some bathroom theology in the black church.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
Something sound good to you while you sitting on the toilet, you get to bucking and shouting.
Don't do that.
And you wonder why you ain't made it through. Because you shouting on the promise that he ain't never gave.
Don't take my childhood away. That's funny.
About 3.5, 4 years ago, everything that I had worked hard for, everything that I had sacrificed for, from the material things to the home, to the vehicle, all of that was lost in a fire. And it wasn't just me. And for a moment, as I'm watching everything go up in flames and I'm watching the smoke rise, I questioned God. I grew up and with ill theology and ill mentorship that said you should never question God. But in that moment, I questioned God. And the theology to support my questioning God was, there's countless times in the Bible where someone questioned God. Jesus hanging on the cross questioned God. He said, why hast thou forsaken me? Job going through his trials, he questioned God. Jesus in the garden says, if there be any way that this cup could pass. He questioned God. Because sometimes in life, the weight of life, the worries of life, the things in life can push you into a corner where you want to know, God, why? That's the infamous question that seems to never have an answer, but from a theological standpoint, when you ask God why, the simplicity of the answer is God is sovereign. God can do whatever, whenever, to whoever, and he doesn't need our permission. But for us in humanity, in the moment of our why, it's really like, God, out of all the good that I'm trying to do, all the good that I'm doing, and the work that I'm doing for you in the kingdom, God, why would you allow this to happen to me? I just wish that there are moments and times when the bad things happen to us, that God would have a conversation with us and ask permission to send a storm our way. Because in those moments when God sends the unexpected storm or the uninvited storm, it not only rocks us, but sometimes, especially in life, it rocks those that we are connected to. And God, I can handle a storm if it's just me. But then when it's connected to my kids, when it's connected to those that I love, those that depend on me, the storm hits a little bit harder. But the reality of it is, that's how God displays to us that at the end of you is the start of me. And it was never you that had this thing going in the first place. It was never you that was keeping this relationship afloat. It was never you that was keeping the family together and stable. It was always me, and I was the center of it. And I'll show you that I can take and strip everything that you thought made you who you were, and that thought that kept you, to show you that none of that even matters. And I can do more with you when you have less, man.
Oh my
God is able to take what we have or what we don't have and show us how he is still God in the midst of that. I think a lot of times we get distracted and we get so focused on the storm that we forget that we serving a savior. And that's when he does his best work. That's when he does the most that he could ever do, is when we take our hands off of it.
Yes. That was so amazing that you said that, because I went through a situation probably about 4 years ago. I was at the peak of what I thought was my success, and I was making money. Yeah, money. I was making money. Yeah. Baby, the money was right, and right in the middle of me, money straight, money good. You know, I was doing everything for my children that I needed to do. My kids didn't have to want for anything, none of that. And in the middle of that, God said, "Oh, you're going to have to quit that." I was like, I had to make sure that was what I heard. I started looking around. I said, "No." He said it again, "You got to quit that." And I'm like, "You sure this my bread and butter, God? You sure this what you want me to do?" He said, "I know it's your bread and butter. I gave it to you." I remember when I prayed for it. I prayed for that. I said, "God, I'm just going to tell you the truth." I said, "God, if you let me make enough money to take care of my kids, I won't ask their daddy for anything." And from that point, I got on my knees crying. It took 3 weeks. When I tell you 3 weeks, it took 3 weeks for God to come in my life and sweep me. I was the #1 seller at the cable company I was working at. I was the top-notch seller. Do you hear me? In 3 weeks. And it never went down. Then he told me, you're gonna have to stop that. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I had to leave that alone and put all my trust in God. I've done now more things in the last 4 years when I gave my life to God. I've done more things in the last 4 years, things I never thought I could do. And I've been on this is so funny. I'm not going to go into all the details, but I've been on my own since I was 18 years old. Do you know that since I was 18 years old and I've been on my own, I've never had a budget ever in my life. I've never had a budget.
Man, I got to connect you with somebody. Don't tell nobody else that you need a budget.
Yeah.
You got a budget.
I've never had a budget. But let me tell you this. This is the funny part. I've never had a budget, but I've never been without my rent, never not paid no bill, never not paid no bills. So if you could explain that to me, I'd be very, very happy. How is it that I'm years old now and I'm realizing,
don't try to cough it out.
And I'm realizing at this age right here that I've never had a budget and I've never not made it. You see what I'm saying? But leaning on God, and because he wanted me to do it for my good and for his glory. But the thing of it is, it was because I leaned on him and no one else.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you what was crazy. You're going to think I'm playing. Lose everything. House burned down, car, clothes, everything. I'm talking about the only thing that I have is what I had inside of a bag because we was just coming from off of a trip. That's the only thing that I have. That happens on December 31st, New Year's Eve.
I didn't know.
Happens New Year's
I
Eve.
didn't know that.
Turn around and in April of that
next year.
same year,
Yeah.
God says, now mind you, I just lost
Everything.
God says,
Everything.
God says, now I'm about to give you a ministry. He says, now I'm about to give you a ministry. Now you're going to move into this pastoring. He says, because I need for you to know that at the foundation of it all is me. So I'll burn it down to the ashes so that you'll be able to take no credit for it. And you can't say that it was your relationship. So it's because, man, in the midst of all of that, I wanted to know, God, why would you give me a ministry to serve people and to give? And you just taking everything that I have to give. It was in that moment that I discovered that I depended so much on something. Now, mind you, this entire time I've been an executive pastor. I've been a young adult pastor. I've been a youth pastor. I've been serving in the kingdom. I've been talking and speaking on God's behalf. I've been praying for people. I've been doing this. And then God says, you know what? I'm going to strip all that from you.
That's something. Ain't that
And
something?
then have an expectation for you to stand and encourage somebody from your broken place. I need for you to be a wounded worshiper. I need for you to stand up there and serve and speak life into people. And I'm standing there saying, man, there was Sundays that I kid you not, in my personal opinion, this is just my personal opinion, the best sermon that I've ever preached was the Sunday after the fire.
Really?
I showed up the Sunday after the fire. I told you, I only had what was inside my bag. I ain't have a whole, but I showed up just as I was. And encouraged and poured into people from a broken place, not knowing if God was going to do it for me. I want to know why when God sent a storm my way, he don't ever ask me. I got a list of people that I feel like he should like really, honestly. I got a whole list of people I feel like, God, if you're going to send storms, listen, I got some folks that signed up for the storm. I got some people that pre-qualified for the storm. And I'm looking at them and I'm looking at me and I'm like, God, you sure this was for me?
I think this belonged to him.
Are you sure this storm is for me? God, listen, they deserve it. They earned it. They signed up. God, you gonna send me this storm?
Yeah, that's how I done that.
But then that's also the carnal or the fleshly side of me that would suggest to God in those moments that I think I'm too good for the storm that he's sending.
Yeah. Now that's something that I had to realize too. I'm too good for that storm. Nah.
Like, man, if
that was an accidental storm.
The God that I serve would send his son to die on a cross for me, to carry and bear the weight of the world, to hang for 6 hours, to die from asphyxiation, to go into the wilderness and fast for 40 days and 40 nights and be tempted by Satan. If he'll do that to his son, what would make me think that I'm an exemption?
Exactly.
A lot of times, again, this goes back to, man, I don't ever want to look at somebody else's blessing or look at somebody else's position or status or look at where they are in life and say, man,
I want to be there.
Man, listen.
I wish I was there.
But there are some people I think that pre-qualify for some of the storms that I get in life. I be like, God, you could have just had a conversation with me. You could have told me I respect you enough that if you said it, God, I would have did it. I would have
did it because you told me to. Yeah.
But God knows us, and God knows what gets our attention.
He knows.
God knows what gets our attention. He knows what'll cause us to turn our hearts
Baby,
to him.
that's it.
God knows, man.